Okay, everybody, we're going to call the meeting to order. Can I get an invocation from Jamie Robinson?
Pastor, just pray.
As he has a mouthful of it. Sorry.
Let us pray. Gracious, wise, and eternal Father, we come to this humble in your house. Lord God, we just pray for your grace and your blessing upon this council on aging, our board, our CEO, and our staff, Lord.
Yes.
Most important, our seniors, Lord. We pray and we ask for your favor. We carefully give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. These are your blessings we ask in your daughter and son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief Dillon. Would you like to do the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who's going to do the roll call?
Jessica's going to fill in today.
Miss Jessica, can you do the roll call for us?
Yes. Attorney Jennifer Morzon.
Here.
Ms. Jerry Booker. Here. Dr. Derek N. Cole. Ms. Patricia Williams. Here. Councilwoman Chana Banks. Here. Attorney Steve K. Schilling. Representative C. Denise Marcel. Present. Jessica Griffin. Present. Reverend Leo D. Cyrus.
Here.
Father R. Andrus. Professor Dorothy Jackson. Ms. Pamela Ann Mitchell. Here. Jamie Robinson. Chief Carl Dunn.
Here.
Steve Schilling just walked in.
Attorney Steve Schilling.
He's here.
He's here.
Okay. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Open the floor to public comments. There being, well, I'm going to make a public comment. I'd like to welcome Chief Dunn to our board.
So glad to have him. Yay.
We're glad to have you. All right, action items. We've circulated the minutes from the last board meeting of July 2nd, 2018. Do I hear a motion to approve those board minutes? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And now we will talk about the Gus Young Fire Station. I think it's in
Good afternoon. In the Manila folder, there is a packet. The first packet talks about the Gus Young Fire Station. Mrs. Clark has had a vision. Clark Amar, I apologize.
I'm always Clark.
Has had a vision for a very long time of acquiring the Gus Young Fire Station. And now that she has the resources, she is seeking board approval to acquire the Gus Young Fire Station. Her vision is to use the Gus Young Fire Station for an ageless program, which is a youth and senior citizen intergenerational program. So a place for youth to come throughout the day and after school, as well as seniors to come throughout the day and after school in structured activities together and programs together. History, the RDA owned the property, that's the Redevelopment Authority. Some years ago, under the leadership of Councilwoman Denise Marcel, that property was then donated to a local nonprofit. What we've been doing for the past several months, couple of months, is that nonprofit has agreed to get out of that arrangement, out of that lease, out of that agreement with the RDA, and the RDA is now willing to sell us the property for whatever the appraised value is. What you have is a resolution allowing the CEO, Ms. Clark Amar, to move forward with a CEA, which is just like a purchase agreement, but because it's a public organization and a public organization being the Council on Aging and the RDA, to work together on to sign a CEA to then get an appraisal, get a cost estimate for renovations, and get the Gus Young Fire Station back into commerce.
questions?
So all you need is approval to do the research to see whether it's worth our while to really,
Well, what you are approving is to go into a purchase agreement, which we're calling a CEA because it's two public organizations,
Oh.
to begin the process of acquisition. And in that process, just like a purchase agreement, we're going to do an environmental, we're going to do a estimate of cost, and then we will determine whether it's feasible to accept the property or not, once we get a
okay,
dig deeper
because we
look
don't
at
know
it.
any of that right
We
now.
don't know any of that. So
Okay.
that's that 30-day period that you normally get on a purchase agreement. We're going to get that time to do our due diligence to decide whether it's worth it.
And that neighborhood is a good neighborhood for something like this to be placed in.
For this program, sure, because in essence, the program gives our seniors, particularly our former educators, our former principals, and some of the folks who really want to have an opportunity to give back, work with children who don't have an opportunity to have access to these kind of people. And so it's an opportunity to keep them engaged, and also the children will teach the seniors some things. They're very interested in learning Instagram. They want to learn how to do some social media things. So it's an opportunity to fill a gap that's happening, that we see that is happening in our community, but across the country. So there's a gap between the youth and the elderly. And so what we want to do is bring that gap together by creating this program. And this is something that's taken place with councils on aging and agencies across the country.
So the purchase price is the appraised.
Whatever the appraised value is.
And we don't know what that
And we don't know what that is. Yes, ma'am.
That's okay, I'll wait till you finish. Thank you, Dr. Gilmore. Let me just start out by saying that property was originally intended for after-school tutoring for the Baton Rouge Learning Center. And once I kind of left that seat and went to the state rep seat, kind of nothing really developed with it, although I had given it to Mid-City, the nonprofit, to make something happen. I think it's a great opportunity for the Council on Aging to come in and have a marriage with the youth. The intended purpose for it will still be there. So the tutoring piece will still be a component in it, as well as the seniors. And so they'll be working together. Again, as Tasha has said, where they will have some of the retired teachers coming back. We have had some commitments from both Southern University in the past, Cox Communications, and I think some students at LSU at some point, but we'll have to re-engage those people again in terms of coming in to help in that particular community. So I think it's an awesome opportunity. But speaking to the value of the property, I've had some conversations with Chris Tyson, and so it will not be anything that will be out of unusual for us to pay for the property. It does need some work, but it's in a great location, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to renovate the building and it to become an anchor in that particular part of the community for both the seniors and the youth. And so it's been a vision of me and Tasha's when she was a director at the MLK Center. We've been working on it a long time, so I cannot wait to see this project come into fruition at the proper time. If we need a motion to give the Ms. Amar the ability to move forward with it, I'd like to so move. I will second that motion.
Do you want Ms. Griffin to read the resolution? Okay. Ms. Griffin, can you read the resolution? Okay.
Resolution of the Board of Directors of the East Baton Rouge Council on Aging, Incorporated. Be it resolved that Tasha Clark Amar, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the corporation, the President, is duly authorized and directed to act on behalf of the corporation to sign any and all documents in connection with one certain cooperative endeavor agreement by and between RDA Properties, a Louisiana Public Benefit Corporation, represented by its sole shareholder, the East Baton Rouge Redevelopment Authority, and the East Baton Rouge Council on Aging Incorporated, a nonprofit corporation, subject to all terms and conditions of the form of cooperative endeavor agreement attached hereto and made a part hereof as Exhibit A, the CEA, and to execute any documents in connection with the CEA on such terms that she, in her sole discretion, deem proper and advisable. Be it further resolved that the president of this corporation is further authorized on behalf of this corporation to sign any and all documents that may be necessary to carry out the purposes of these resolutions as she, in her sole discretion, deem appropriate, and to do and perform each and every other act and thing that may be necessary to carry out these purposes. All lawful acts done and performed being hereby ratified and confirmed. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall not act to supersede any prior resolutions of this corporation, said prior resolutions to remain in full force and effect. I, Jessica Griffin, substituting for Dr. Derek Cole, certify that Dr. Cole is the duly elected secretary of the corporation and that notice of the meeting of the board of directors was properly given to all board members and that the above resolutions were adopted by a majority of the directors present at a meeting duly called, held by them on the 25th day of September 2018 at the office of the corporation, at which meeting a quorum of the members of the board of directors were present and all voted in favor of the passage of these resolutions. These resolutions are true and correct, have not been altered or replaced, and are in full force and effect, and have not been modified or rescinded. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this 25th day of September 2018.
I just want to open the floor. Any more questions about this? And then I'll recognize Denise Marcel's motion to adopt the resolution. All right.
I would just like to include some of the seniors participate. They educate some of the educators and the senior citizens from our agency to participate with
That is definitely the idea.
Miss Pat is a former educator. She's gun-ho to get started.
So that is exactly what we're saying. So some of the people who are now retired that are in the council on aging, we certainly open it up to them. They'll be working directly with the children. Of course, the children will be teaching them some technology. I probably need to go by that myself, you know, and learn some of the things that they can teach us about technology because they were born into it and we need to learn it. So those are the kind of opportunities that we're looking forward to do with that particular facility.
Also, just I just mentioned it to the chairwoman that our attorneys, Murphy, Foster, and the RDA's attorney got together and drafted all these documents. If they sound very legal, I just want you to know that I didn't write these here tos and here ofs, and that Attorney Foster drafted them. He's en route to the meeting, but he's in traffic coming in from somewhere. But they drafted these documents.
So I'll recognize Denise Marcel's motion to adopt the resolution. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right.
Can James just?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Mrs. Clark Amar asks that we definitely take time to introduce our construction management firm that's been hired. Over the past couple of months, we have been going through a bid process with the Murphy, our attorneys, to select a construction manager. As you all know, several board meetings ago, we talked about our capital outlay plan, and so now we're actually putting that plan in action. We're starting to actually acquire buildings and start development, and so Watts Didier architectural firm won the bid to oversee the construction management projects, and Mr. Didier is here today if you wanted to introduce yourself and say a little bit about your company.
Sure. Thank you. Not sure where I should
Yeah, you're good.
Again, Daryl Didier, Watts Didier Architects. I've been a practicing architect for 23 years. Our firm's been around since 1947. My predecessor, Jerry Watts, recently retired last year, but he's still involved with the firm here and there. Just happy to be working with you guys. We got plenty of experience working with seniors, multifamily housing, senior housing, multifunctional type facilities. It's really, we're excited to be working with you guys, and it's right up our alley. So,
Well, welcome.
and if you want an update on any, where we are on anything that we're currently working on, please let me know.
So in the agenda, we have the properties that we're working on, and so we may be calling you up as we go down the list.
I have a question. As architects, what is your goal? You just draw the plans and then give it to the contractor? Or you actually go out and look for the property and say, okay, this is being done right, not being done right?
We're with you on the very beginning, from the very end. So we're, part of our scope of work is contract with our observation.
You're a true construction manager.
I'm an architect.
I know, but this project, when you do this project, you are telling the contractor to do it right and do it wrong.
I can, I absolutely can. Yeah. As a part of general conditions and my scope of work, my scope of work. Yeah, we can definitely, with your approval, shut the job down. Tell the contractor you're not doing the right things. There's a lot of ways that we can enforce those contract documents. But yes, that's absolutely a part of my scope.
Where does the RFP state, as it relates to this one?
RFP states that but it's not the RFP, it's the document that he signed, which is a, I forget what we call it.
Master service agreement?
Master service agreement. And within that master service agreement, there are individual projects, not identified in the master service agreement because we don't know what those are until they come up. But he signs a separate project agreement for each of those.
Kind of narrows the scope down. We have a global contract that we're bound to and governed by, and then we have a task contract for each contract or each project that we tackle, work on, move forward with. So there's, it kind of narrows the scope of work down, and then we're bound by that as well. So,
You got a question?
accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so let me see if I understand you correctly. You're gonna be the architect on multiple projects for the Council on Aging, but not necessarily the construction person on those projects. Is that correct?
I am not a construction company.
Right. So you won't actually be doing the construction, but you'll be doing the architect.
And we'll be facilitating contracts, letting bids,
We'll let the bids.
and also job observation or construction observation where we're watching what contractors do and making sure that they're following all applicable codes. We'll be enforcing our contract documents, which is your contract documents. We'll be checking pay applications to make sure that they're not billing for more than the work that they have in place. We'll be enforcing that contract from a construction perspective.
Okay, just one final question. So is this something, as an architect, I know you say you've been doing this for a million years, but is that something that you guys generally do as architects?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Every project.
Okay. So you manage the majority of the architect's contracts, because I know there are projects where they have the architect and then they have the construction company, and they have two different functions.
That's correct.
But what you're telling me is you'll be kind of overseeing all of the projects.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
This is my concern. If the contractor is putting the flashing on the windows, you're gonna see that it comes with flashing.
Absolutely.
And he's done this kind of work with the Housing Authority and some other public entities, so he knows how to work within our tax funds and our governmental funds, so to make sure that we're meeting those regulations and codes.
We're not putting flash over the windows, I'm gonna beat them up.
We like that.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll probably definitely be back to you.
Yeah.
I did want to acknowledge that Father Andrus has now joined us, and so has Attorney Murphy Foster. So, just for Miss Griffin's records. Okay. Finance Committee report. Ms. Pratt.
Does Denise, you'll make the report?
Or Denise, do you want to make the report?
Yes. Okay. You go with Ms. Pratt.
Go help her.
Ms. Payne helps you with the finance committee.
Okay, so on September the 13th, we held our finance meeting, and what we did was voted to bring the resolution to the full body and accept the resolution for the budget versus actual, and Ms. Pratt is going to go over that.
Yes. Okay. The budget versus actual by programs is the fourth quarter. Ending fourth quarter, and this is the unaudited report. Once the audit is complete, then those will be final figures, audited figures for the organization. For the fiscal year FY 2018, our total revenue is $7.1 million. That includes, the bulk of it, of course, is includes the tax millage, but we have 3.2 of non-tax millage money that's included in that figure. Our expenses for the same time period, for the same period from July of 17 through June of 18, total total 4.46, I believe. Yes, 4.995. So the profit, the unaudited profit for the year ending June 30, 17, which includes a full fiscal year of government, of state and federal money, and half a year for city money, that was $2.1 million was the net profit at June 30th. Now, for fiscal year, for calendar year 2019, which includes the millage money, we have collected so far, and this is as of yesterday, we have collected 9.021 million. The tax initially was supposed to give us 7.8, so we already have 1.221 million more than we had budgeted. So with that, 1.221, yeah, 1,000,2.2. And with that, because the firehouse was not originally budgeted for this fiscal year, but because of the money was coming in at the rate it was coming in, then that made it possible for us to go and do the firehouse a year earlier, because it was initially scheduled to happen next year. So we're using excess money basically for that project. This fiscal year, for the period ending August 31st, it's July and August, we have still left in our money market account, which is where we put our money from the city. We had 3.441 million left at the end of August, and $1 million in the CD. Now the $1 million in the CD is, we're gonna take 900,000 of that and invest it as our 10% reserve that we are allowed to do. And what we're gonna do from year to year, we're gonna take 10% of whatever we receive and just keep it in reserve until, well, hopefully until the end of the 10 years. Unless something dramatic happens or something drastic and we have to tap in the reserve, but we don't foresee that happening. But anyway.
That's our rainy day surplus fund.
Rainy day surplus fund, exactly. So we'll put the 10% in that every year. We have met with two firms. One did a presentation to the board, and the other one, of course, Whitney Bank heard that we were talking with someone else, so they wanted to do a proposal to us. So we're scheduled to hear their proposal. And once that's done, we will go on and decide which company we'll use for the investments. And we'll do that before the end of the fiscal year. Because when we go to the council in November, we have to have a plan as to what we're going to do with the money. We don't want them to be sitting idle because they want us to give it back. And we're not going to have any excess to give back, because everything that we don't use, we're going to encumber, because we have several projects in the making right now. We just don't have a definite figure on them, but we will have that before we go to the council in November. As far as this fiscal year goes, one major change that we did at the council, and that's dealing with the Meals on Wheels. Our clients used to have to pay depending on their salary. It was a rating scale, where now none of our clients pay for Meals on Wheels. It doesn't matter what kind of income they have. If they Meals on Wheels eligible, then they will get free meals. So we don't charge them. We used to charge $5.25 a meal. We don't do that anymore. So any of our clients who qualify to get Meals on Wheels can get them for free.
Well, and we stopped that because they're paying the tax through their property tax.
Right.
So it wouldn't be right to double tax them and turn around and charge them for a meal that they're already paying for.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Our staff at the agency has increased from 55 employees to 105, and that's mainly due to the second shift in the kitchen, the increase in the Meals on Wheels drivers, increase in the care managers, and actually we had a lot of homemaker positions that were vacant. We were able to fill all of those positions as well, and of course the accounting staff. One new program that we've done that has been a real good program, I say good in that it was a very needed program, was the food pantry that we opened earlier this year, and it's growing. It was growing so much we had to stop, right?
The food bank asked us this year to stop at 500 because they can't keep up until next year.
Right. So our limit is 500, but we I think we probably had maximum with that.
Maximum.
And we get the food, like some from the food bank, some from USDA. And we also, sometimes we don't get enough fresh produce and stuff. So we have a budget of $25,000 for the year that we will buy $2,000 or $3,000 every month or so to add to that. So if we need some fresh produce, we'll go buy it. If we need some cereal or dry beans, it just depends on what we get donated from the food bank and USDA. And we'll fill in the gap with some additional food items. So that's a big project that is a very needed one. If you ever pass the agency, you see now we have nowhere to park. Absolutely nowhere.
Right.
So we're working on trying to find out where the staff can park. In addition to the seniors, but it's a good problem to have. Except that we're land bound. We don't even have anywhere we can possibly put them. So that's an issue that Dr. Gilmore is working on. Trying to find parking everywhere.
You got 12 more.
You got 12, okay.
We're leasing 12 next door.
All right. So anyway, what I need today from you all is an approval on the budget versus actual, because that is the report that has to go into the governor's office within 30 days after the. So, need a resolution on that.
Ms. Griffin, you want to read it?
Board resolution to adopt this instrument. Acceptance of budget versus actual report. On the 25th day of September 2018, at a meeting of the Board of Directors of the East Baton Rouge Council on Aging Incorporated, a corporation held in the city of Baton Rouge, state of Louisiana, with the quorum of the directors present, the following business was conducted. It was duly moved and seconded that the following resolution be adopted. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the above-named corporation does hereby acknowledge and accept the fourth quarter budget versus actual report containing actual expenditures totaling $4,995,025.65 and actual revenues totaling $7,105,540.95 as of June 30th, 2018. The above resolution was passed by a majority of those present and voting in accordance with the bylaws and articles of incorporation. I certify that the above and foregoing constitute a true and correct copy of a part of the minutes of a meeting of the Board of Directors held on the 25th day of September 2018. Jessica Griffin, substituting for Dr. Derek Cole, Board Secretary.
Do I hear a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
All those, second? Who wants to second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, next item, Board Development Committee report. We just met, and
Jessica gonna give it.
Ms. Griffin's gonna present our new prospective board member.
Okay, as the chairperson just indicated, the Board Development Committee just met this morning with the recommendation to review prospective board members for the nonprofit seat. This morning we reviewed the resume of Ms. Dot Thibodeau, and I'll present her information to the group. Ms. Thibodeau, from 1993 to present, served as a volunteer. He initiated the local council on aging, the first support group for grandparents raising grandchildren in the state of Louisiana. Between 1998 and 2001, she was the coordinator of Grandparents Resource Centers at East Baton Rouge Council on Aging. From 1997 to the present, she's a licensed master florist and she's currently employed in the floral department of Albertsons in Baton Rouge. From 2002 to the present, she was the co-founder of Grandparents Raising Grandchildren Information Center of Louisiana and currently serves as its president of the board, where in this organization she oversees as a volunteer various activities. She is a recipient of Judge Richard Ware Award for Louisiana Children's Trust Fund in November 2007 for her work with the Grandparents Raising Grandchildren, and she's a recipient of Silver Magnolia Award in 2015 for her work with Grandparents Raising Grandchildren. The Board Development Committee presents Ms. Dot Thibodeau for your consideration as a board member in the nonprofit position.
Do I hear any questions or comments about Ms. Thibodeau? From what I understand, she's been pretty active in this grandparents raising grandchildren.
She has.
And started it.
I do want to just say that I think most of us know Ms. Dot Thibodeau, and she's worked side by side with the Council on Aging before I ever came over here. It's been big and doing a wonderful job. I think that she would be an awesome addition to this board.
Okay, great. Do I hear a motion to accept Ms. Thibodeau to join the board? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll get to meet Ms. Dot.
Get to meet Ms. Dot, Jim.
Okay, ad hoc committee report. 1701, we met with the architects 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And we made some final, like, minor changes, and they've already sent us back the plans with the minor changes that we asked for. We had some questions about, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the design, but the
Aesthetics.
aesthetic, yes. And so they took our suggestions and they're working on that, but they don't need that to go forward with the rest of the design. So now, does Mr. Ducote have it?
It's my understanding that they feel like they're at 80% of design, complete with 80% of it, that they're going to go ahead and move forward with going to the Metro Council so they can begin the process of putting out the RFQ. I think they do a Q, RFQ for contractor, so we can finally see some serious movement on this project. One issue that they had is they put on a new roof on the building, and now they realize that a section of the building, the roof has to be torn down and built up to a higher standard because HUD is not going to approve it or something to that effect. It's too low, and so they have to redo it. So we're paying for a roof twice. Well, they're paying for a roof twice, but they're going to try to go ahead and move forward to get this in front of the Metro Council members. We asked them 2 weeks ago to please send the Metro Council members some email and an update on where they are in the project, and I got CC'd on it. I don't know if they sent it to everybody, but Eric Ducote committed that he would, because the administration and the council members were contacting us about the building, which is actually their project, right. You know, and so it's my understanding that they're going to try to move forward and get the RFP Q put out so they can get it to bid.
So we've done everything they need us to do to get started on the RFQ part and getting it in front of the Metro Council. So now we just have to wait until it gets there.
They did let us know that the budget will be very tight. As you know, that we've been working on this 4 years, 4.5 years. We went from a 3.7 budget to 3.1. It's my understanding from 3.1 now they've exhausted a sizable portion of it. We have about 2.2 to actually complete the renovations, and so that leaves no room for change orders. So what they had suggested to us is that we do we meet with an FF&E, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, person, where we pay for all of that ourselves, because there won't be any room left in the budget, and we're good with that, because we'll just take our stuff with us if we have to take our ball home, you know. And so we're waiting to meet with them to do that. So hopefully they gave us a deadline of March 2020, which is a year later than it should be, but March 2020 to finally be in this building. So fingers crossed that'll happen.
I have a question for Councilwoman Banks. Is it possible for us to see where the money went that got used so far? I'm just curious, because I know they did the roof, which I think might still have a leak, and then they got to redo something to the roof, but we had to put up the fence to secure the property because so much stuff was going on around there. So we're just curious, because since we're on such a tight budget, what happened to the rest of the money?
Now, what did you tell, you have to be in by 2020?
Well, we should have
They
been
said
in
we
at the
should
end of
be in.
19. It's 5 years with HUD, but they said 2020. So
And I do have another question for Councilman Banks. Is there any way that we can speed that process up and figure out what are the hiccups in it? Because it shouldn't take that long. I mean,
So what I'll do is first find out where the money, and then we'll ask for a report before the council.
right.
So we'll do that and make sure everybody can.
Okay.
okay.
Sounds good. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Part of it had to be redone.
Yeah.
Who did the roof the first time?
DPW.
Have you
DPW bidded it out to somebody.
The DPW actually contracted out, and the contractor is DPW. So that contractor is paying for the redo.
Now that I don't know.
Not that I'm aware
It
of.
didn't sound like that.
It doesn't sound like that.
Not us.
So one part that they have to do is they have to lift a certain part because the ceiling height is too low. But right now, we had heard that the roof was still leaking. So that's why I wanted to call it to Councilwoman Banks' attention so that she would be aware in case this comes up in a DPW issue.
My concern, we've done it. It's been done. It's going to be done again. We always want to ensure that there are no leaks on this second redo.
So did you have a new install?
No, they did.
Well, the city parish did it.
Yeah.
The city.
City. I think $550,000 roof.
I forgot who their bid is, but they were not, we have the same problem.
Okay.
There
That's
should be
good
a
to know.
protection. My thing is, whenever we do business, when I was there, when we did business with contractors, I don't care who it was, they have an obligation if it's leaking. Now in terms of lifting it up, if somebody didn't tell them that, and that wasn't a part
That's
of
something
the spec,
different.
Yeah.
that's one thing. But if it's just leaking and you just put a roof on there, that obligation goes back and follows the contractor.
Contractor.
So I don't understand why.
5 years. They get 5 years.
Right. And so,
And
cause,
then there should be some obligation for delaying you being able to use your time.
well,
And that's why my question was kind of right. It's government
I know. I did it on
to
purpose.
do certain projects for us. I know he's not involved with this one. Is there a Mr. DDA on this project?
For
We
them,
can call and say, what's going on?
no.
Because
there's an architecture firm.
Coleman Partners,
Coleman Partners is the architecture firm.
but they don't work for us. They work for
They work for the city parish.
So I come to your house and fix your roof, the whole all that, I don't have to live there, I don't care.
Right.
That's the kind of impression I'm getting from, yeah.
Yeah. So okay. But
Similar thing happened with the fire station right there on Choctaw when it wasn't done right and they just had to hold the contractors pull their insurance on that and, you know.
Yeah.
And it took some time to get it straight, but we have protection. That's why we signed contracts. Unless
Right.
we just stopped doing it that way when I was there, that's what we was doing. I don't know.
Well, that's why I wanted y'all to be aware that if you're thinking, oh, why is this taking so long? These are some of the things that we're experiencing.
I'm more concerned about us taking time to do it, going in there and getting ranked and our computer ruined and
Yes.
having to redo it again, or get involved in litigation with this architect and this contractor that we didn't hire in the first place.
But we'll most definitely.
It's not our contract with them, it's the city parish's contract with them.
If we rank, we'll get in there.
So Jennifer's gonna send Councilwoman an email and ask her to look into it.
Who will be responsible for getting the report from the council?
She's gonna.
Yeah, she'll send it.
Jennifer sent it to me and I'll send it.
It's better to come from let the board members work that out. Let me
At our
back out.
meeting, one of the things that I was concerned with, like you said, Attorney Schilling, at what point, you know, and I asked this in our meeting, at what point do we say, I mean, you know, if they're expecting us to pay for this or additional money, at this point, the contract has changed from what we want it to be in our agreement. So it looks like, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that we're not willing to work with the council, but we need to know exactly what we're looking at and exactly what we're gonna get for it. Otherwise, it may behoove us not to go into the building because of whatever they have done, not anything that we have done. And so we have to be good stewards over the taxpayers' dollars, as they would say.
They've been
Right.
trusted to us.
And they entrusted to us, right? So we can't just go and fix all of their mistakes or whomever mistakes it is, because that was
Take
my
care of this
concern
up
as well.
front, otherwise.
So at what point do we say, hey,
Thousands of the taxpayers' dollars in litigation over this contractor and architect that we did not hire
correct?
to fix a building that we are now around our neck like an albatross.
And they have promised us that the building will be built out to a certain extent, whatever that extent is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it should be finished for us to be able to walk in. I don't want them to run out of money and go, well, we got most of it, but good luck with walls, or, you know, can y'all help us with sheetrock? You know, I don't want to do that, and that's what you were talking about the other day.
Because the whole thing.
So maybe after Councilwoman gets you guys to report, then we can give it to Murphy, and since he helped draft that wonderful CEA, then he can go back and have a conversation with their legal team, and we can keep it at that level.
We're not gonna close that deal. We're not gonna move into that space.
I can't hear you, Murphy.
We're not gonna go through with it unless it's done right. Period.
Okay.
Do we have an independent architect go look at it?
At that time, at the time that it is tendered to us, absolutely.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
I agree.
Under the preview of a public hearing, you have, in writing, you have a question, and you can review later to come up with any amendments or.
Okay.
Okay.
Next.
All right. Let me introduce Mr. Didier.
Yeah. And then we can
Okay.
go down these projects.
Okay.
So introduce.
Dumas House.
Dr. Gilmore, we'll talk about Dumas House. You're the
I love it when my boss surprises me.
I know some, but not all, so you might have.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
So Dumas House is one of the first projects that our construction management firm was assigned to do in a service master agreement. As you all know, it floods. As you all know, that property has our seniors living there. And so his first task order per se, we went and we took a look at the property, and he determined that we needed to do a drainage study because the one that was done previously years ago just might have been outdated and not as accurate, because what he looked at was serious drainage problems with the visual eye. So in his service master agreement, his task order included hiring a firm or outsourcing to a firm to go in and do a drainage study, because we saw clogged up drainage with leaves to the top. So visually we can guess what's wrong, but they're going to send in cameras. Help me, Didier. Cameras or something underground to take a look and see what the drainage looked like. So that's the first task order before we start breaking up any concrete or doing any type of work, is to look and see what the drainage problem source is. Anything you want to add?
You want to add something?
You're 100% accurate. Upon visual inspection, myself, Michael Law for Southeast Engineering, Civil Engineering, and Dr. Gilmore, we all went out there, looked at it. There were some documents that were presented, old drainage study type documents, but registered not by, there's no seal, no signature on it. I'm not exactly sure how they were procured, but at any rate, it left a lot of holes in understanding the real problem. So the idea was we're going to order a survey so we know exactly what your site is doing from a topographic perspective, where the drainage is located, inverts on all of that drainage, and then produce a drainage study to calculate how much water you're taking on, where is water coming from, is it adjacent properties, and that is a possibility as well. Is the city tie-in at Florida Sherwood Forest adequate to carry the volume of water for that site? It's another thing we're going to be studying and looking at as a part of this drainage study.
But this is an urgent agenda item for the council. Where do we stand on that study?
Survey is complete.
All right.
Civil engineer is working on the drainage study. I should have a draft of that document by the end of this week or early next week. So we're looking at weeks, not months.
Okay.
So upon receiving that information, that engineering survey back, we can then decide what needs to be done.
Exactly.
Can't just build a levee around it. We decide what works best to get the water out of the parking lot and stay out of the parking lot. You then design the plan to do that and put together the documents for the letting of a public bid for a contractor to come do it. And all of this is at the top of the list, urgency-wise.
100%.
All right.
And I know it's urgent.
Yeah.
Been-
She has a question.
No, Ms. Agbar,
Yes.
I recall us having a study done.
Yeah.
And so we paid for a study.
Mm-hmm.
And was that study inadequate?
That's what he just said.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Okay.
Yeah, so the study, the documents that he's referring to is the study that we had done by Chuck Brown Engineering.
I wasn't no call no name.
Okay. I mean, it's on the record. It was at a board meeting.
I'm just saying, I recall.
Yes. Who's now the
Okay,
director?
so that was inadequate.
Yes,
That's why we never got it resolved.
right.
Okay.
Well, some measures were done. There was a kind
A
of
levy,
wall. retaining wall
$27,000.
in the back, which
Right.
I still can't figure out why. So, again, there's some disconnect between that report, what was done, and what I'm seeing out there. So, and we needed to gather more information to really wrap our heads around what's causing the problem. Let's get to the root of it and solve it once and for all, and not just Band-Aid.
Am I also to understand this has not eliminated a DPW issue?
That's correct.
Okay.
When was the previous study done?
About 2 years ago.
No. Maybe 5,
Before me.
5 years?
5 years or so?
It hadn't been that long.
5,
Ms. Agbar, it hadn't been that long.
4, 4. It had to be
been
maybe 4.
5. It hadn't been 5.
Okay.
But
I don't engineering firm and asked him, what did you do?
We can.
Did
Did we talk? Well, we had him to, or his firm, to submit us the study, and then they gave us 3 options. One was to build that concrete levee, which we did, which was the most economically feasible option at the time because we didn't have residual income. And the other 2 were really drastic, tear up the whole parking lot and rebuild it. And so that's what we budgeted for now. That's what we asked him to go look for. We had him out. So he gave us the study, but you know, to his defense, DPW was there when he made the study. And so of course they said the issue wasn't theirs.
That's what they're always going to say.
Right. I think the councilwoman was there at the time. She was councilwoman then. And so they were like, it wasn't theirs. I think Mr. Daniels was there. We all had a meeting. We walked the property. I think Pastor Cyrus was there or was at the meeting when they made the presentation. And so ultimately it all became Council on Aging's responsibility. And so we didn't have $550,000 to crack it up and rebuild it, so we tried with the levy, whatever they said to do, which it didn't work, you know.
In your defense, you're following what you feel is sound advice.
Right.
Public, you get a document.
Yes.
My engineer and I can't really figure out why they suggested.
and
The question wasn't the council's leadership. The question was, you're paying a professional engineer.
Yeah.
What do we get for it?
We got a document.
It's a document.
Yeah.
It's written on.
Right. doesn't seem to be
It's
now.
not. Should be redoing it for free.
Has it flooded,
Yes, ma'am.
the skin and how we, so has that still been an issue about us paying for the damages to the vehicles and
Well,
is that something that we have addressed? I know that's not what we own, but I remember that was, the residents.
Since that flood that you were talking about, we have a what's a plan that we have in place with staff and the seniors.
Where they move the vehicles?
We go and move them and sandbag the building, and we move the vehicles, and when the water subsides, then we move them all back. Yeah,
You should not be out there.
that's right. That's why we're gonna hurry up and get this fixed, right, Mr. Didier? Immediately.
It's frustrating. I've seen this before.
Yeah.
where An engineering firm will take advantage of things that the council making. They know doesn't have an in-house
Sure.
civil engineers. There's not a dedicated person to stand out there with them and make sure that they're doing whatever it says they're doing.
Right.
And that's why I want Mr. Didier
Yeah.
to call and say, was this done?
Right.
Yes or no? Okay, if it was done, why is it working?
Sure.
Will the other county disagree?
Will there be another study done?
But it's done. They're doing it now.
They're doing it now.
The document, yeah. The document, yes.
We don't have the result.
Okay.
Yeah, the document that was supplied was unsubstantiated and seemingly inaccurate. So I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but you know, if I had a reasonable document that made logical and rational sense that was signed and sealed by a licensed engineer, that's one thing. This was not signed by a licensed engineer. It had some recommendations in it that let's just say I don't necessarily agree with those. And so that's why we decided to develop our own study, work up our own opinions of how we think it can be fixed, rather than moving forward with that report and it's.
And how much did that cost, the previous report?
Money for his.
No, the previous that you were doing away with.
I don't recall offhand. I want to say $12,000 somewhere around in there. Was that it, Ms. Frank? Right. So so Volunteers of America manages the Dumas House property for us, and they pay for it out of their reserve account.
So VOA.
They pay for it. Yeah.
So we would have to pay Mr. Didier to perform the study.
Yeah, we've already paid it.
We are.
So, but my question, why can't we, the person who did the study the first time, we've already paid, and the study came back inadequate, we didn't pay them?
Volunteers of America paid them.
So it wasn't really our contract?
Well, it's our property, but Volunteers of America manages the property. So in their management contract, they're supposed to take care of these kind of things.
They have a problem with this situation, and the problem that they paid for that.
I think they'll probably just leave it alone because the gentleman that did the study is now the director of one of the major state departments, and they're not going to fight with him about that. Okay?
We pay for this.
We're going to pay for this one, and we're going to pay for the repairs.
So if it doesn't work on his head,
Right.
Comes a chopping block.
Okay?
And like Jamie, like he said, it's gonna be a couple of weeks and not like months or anything. So we should have something in a couple of weeks.
That's a lawyer instinct.
We own the property.
So Dumas House is just because we have some new board members who may not know, Dumas House is the Council on Aging's property, but because we typically do direct services, we decided not to really get into the management portion and we have a contract with Volunteers of America to do the management. What I mean by management, collecting the rent, making sure that the building is paid, keeping up with our waiting list, answering all the HUDs. It's a HUD 202 project, so there's some HUD regulations and stipulations that you have to answer to monthly. And so they do all of that because that's their area of expertise, and and they get paid out of the rents that they collect, and they make sure that, we don't have any findings and all of that. Okay, but it is our property, yes.
Is VOA responsible for maintenance, site maintenance?
They are. So if you see some issues, then let me know.
We can have that discussion at a future
We can have that
meeting.
discussion. Yes, they are. Okay.
Okay, you want to talk about Homewood?
Yep, Homewood. Stay there.
Homewood. Homewood is an additional task order agreement that we have with the construction management firm. As you all know, and for those new members who may not know, Homewood is a clubhouse with a pool that the neighborhood donated to the agency some years ago. However, as part of the agreement, we have to keep it up, keep it clean, and keep it functional. And so Ms. Amar, who is also an avid swimmer, loves the pool, and she knows how the benefits of the pool, how it benefits our seniors. So she wants to keep it open, keep it thriving, so seniors can have a place to go and swim and get exercises. However, the pool needs lots of work over the years. It needs some upkeep. And so we have DDA assigned to help us upgrade the pool so that it can continue to be functional. But while doing that, that senior center has also grown over the past several years, especially since the taxes passed. And so what we need to do is also expand the facility. Parking, space, bathrooms,
Yeah, we
etc.
need to make it more ADA compliant, don't
And
we?
also, it's not ADA compliant.
Right.
And so, as part of this task order, they are to draw the designs to expand the facility, upgrade it, as well as the pool.
I'm all for ADA compliant stuff. If I see anything around here that's not ADA compliant, can I speak with council?
In my younger, less fluffy days, I was a lifeguard, right? And so I think a pool is, the seniors, they love the pool. They love the pool because, they normally don't get access or opportunities to go to a pool where it's just them. You don't have a bunch of kids running around on top of you, and so they enjoy it. But the pool has some issues. We knew that the pool had some issues. We tried to do just some patchwork, but now that we have an opportunity to actually make the center all that it can be, we want to do that for the seniors. Yep, Mr. Didier's he's already been out to the property. You want to?
Multiple times.
Yep.
To speak to your thoughts and concerns, yes, the front door does not need ADA in any way, shape, or form. The restrooms don't need ADA in any way, shape, or form. The multi-purpose room is grossly undersized. What I did see and we're encouraged by is a multicultural, multi-economical group of people together.
Yes. Having a good time.
Exercising, talking, interacting. That just made my day.
Yeah.
So to see that there's an absolute need to expand that room and to expand the restrooms and make them ADA compatible and easier to get to. I think the kitchen probably needs to grow as that multi-purpose room grows. There's an opportunity perhaps of reorienting the front entry, since that entry really doesn't meet code anyway. I think all of that really kind of hinges on the property adjacent to you. I know Dr. Gilmore and Ms. Lush have already reached out to Energy.
Right.
And if that property is available or been donated to you guys, then that gives us an opportunity to expand the building, reorient the front entry, plan for new parking, which you need as well, because they're parking on that property right now.
Right.
And that opens up a whole new realm of possibilities.
And your cost estimates initial? She asked about
About
cost.
$650,000, including that parking area. So with all that in mind, that expansion, that's our preliminary construction budget.
It doesn't sound like this one, this will be subject to this property, but I found that in some projects where made in time, it's more cost effective to tear it down, rebuild it. This one doesn't sound, 650 doesn't sound like that. Viable option. 650 doesn't sound like that would be.
And I think your bones are good. It's all concrete block walls, so
Yeah.
it's going to be the job tearing some of the stuff apart on the inside. Because even your restrooms are all
Are
concrete
concrete
blocks.
blocks.
The showers in here are all concrete blocks.
Everything's concrete.
Yeah, sledgehammer and some elbow grease will get it done.
Oh, I don't think. That's a good question. Okay.
Projects are going to cost more to redo what you have, so tear it down.
There's that line.
Ms. Griffin had a question about where the seniors gonna relocate while we're doing construction. Why are you looking?
Perkins.
Perkins.
Yeah, they're less than about a block up, 2 blocks to Perkins. They'll go there for a couple of weeks and hope they'll get along. They'll get along.
They'll get there.
We'll get them to get along.
And Ms. Pat, did you have a question too?
I think it was into, because I'm concerned about the shower area and
Yeah, so we're gonna expand the showers and the restrooms and put some fitness space in there and redo the pool with some better exercise bars and that kind of stuff.
I don't think there's much use for that concession area, so we're
Right.
going to commandeer that space and kind of blow that out and
Right.
there's a small pool on the far end, kiddie pool kind of thing,
Yeah.
that we may get rid of that as well. And
We're gonna have a senior jacuzzi. Yeah.
we should talk about jacuzzi, hot tub, kind of effect that. Well,
Father said steam room.
we'll factor all that in as we
Yeah.
move forward.
Seniors in the jacuzzi, that's gonna be something.
We gotta get them in or we gotta get them out.
All right, so Antioch, oh,
That's me. It's open every day. People can go there. Yep.
But we can't go in the pool.
No.
on
We
pool
only go in the
days.
pool when we have like
Lifeguards.
splash days, and I have several lifeguards in the EMT there because I want to make sure that we're safe. And then with the crack in the pool, if you notice, the lifeguards stand on the crack.
Yeah.
So yeah, we only did that a couple of times this summer because they kept asking me every day, can we swim? So we did that this summer. But hopefully by next summer with Diddy and work, we can go every day. That's the intent, and we can go every day and. That's right. We want it to be a facility that you can use every day and Saturday.
and then we can keep a
And
lifeguard.
we can keep a lifeguard and staff for the pool.
Definitely have some trimming hazards along the perimeter.
Right.
Where concrete is settled and moved a little bit.
And you're gonna fix all of that.
Yeah.
Right. It's gonna be a brand new state-of-the-art senior aquatic center.
Did you say you were going to do something with that small pool out?
Well, we've been sort of instructed to kind of get rid of it.
And we're gonna get a jacuzzi.
Yeah, put some type of jacuzzi or hot tub kind of thing out there. Covered, not covered, I really don't know yet.
Yeah.
Budget will dictate that, space, other physical factors maybe, but that's the ideal.
Okay.
Fair?
Yeah, that sounds fair. I'll talk about Antioch. So,
Okay.
Antioch, we moved into the break facility in Shenandoah at the Antioch break facility. And our first 2 weeks.
Every single person in Shenandoah showed up.
So we found out there's 2,100 homes in that neighborhood. And 70%, I think the neighborhood association guy told me, about 70% of them are seniors. So what we found out immediately is that the center that we moved in with Break is way too small. We've had anywhere from 150 to 250 people a day. I've gotten calls from the fire marshal, from the police, from Breck, from the fire marshal, from the police. I'm talking about on a daily basis. It's not enough parking. The first week and a half, the police had to direct traffic because there's a school within the same block as the park. And the seniors is blocking the kids from getting to school, and the kids will not get out the way of the seniors. And then there's a after school daycare program there where it's mommy daycare where they drop the toddlers in. and the seniors not having the toddlers, and the toddlers are not having the seniors. And so we're looking for a larger facility. We identified it's an old, used to be a store right at the beginning of their neighborhood. It's 15,000 square feet. And we can accommodate these people because the fire marshal has already told me I can't take any more seniors there. 250 is too many, and I got another about 100 something on a waiting list that want to come. But they can't come because they can't park, and now they're carpooling. If you live in this block, they getting in the car together. And they asking me for golf carts from Breck. They call him Breck, and ask Breck, y'all closed all the golf clubs, so bring us the carts, and we're gonna drive and pick up each other.
They have a lot of ideas.
They have a lot of ideas. I'm telling you. And so we found a location. We're gonna do. The owner is willing to do the build out, paint it up, and get us ready. They're gonna put a kitchenette in there for us so we can meet our DHH requirements. They're gonna do bathrooms that are ADA compliant. They're gonna do all flooring. They're gonna make the front door entries ADA compliant. Only thing we have to do is move in and make a 5-year commitment that we'll stay there for 5 years. Yeah, huh? No, it's at Antioch and Tiger Bend. In the strip mall, they have a donut shop at the end. So they got a lawnmower place, a little strip, church, and then a big empty space on the end.
We need to make sure it didn't flood.
Well, all that whole area did, but they already gutted it, and we hired they're hiring a contractor. The owner is to get it all redone and refurb. That's the only part of the building that has to come back. And so they're gonna do it all, and they committed to have us in less than 3 months, hopefully 2 months, so that we can get in and we can get all these seniors in. Because this neighborhood is they really are appreciative that we're in their community, and they're gung-ho to appreciate. I have so many seniors there, I have to have 3 fitness classes a day because we can't do them all at one time. So I think it's a great problem to have. They are excited, and so we're gonna move into this facility so we can give them more space and we can give the school back the neighborhood. They running past the crossing guard. You know, it's just a. Oh, we can have up to all of them. We can have well up to 1,000. It's 15,000 square feet.
And so if we're looking at 250 already signed up, another 100 on the waiting list.
Yeah.
If we have a bigger facility
and
more people hear about it,
we'll get another 200 or 300 people.
So
that'll be one of our biggest centers.
300 plus people a day?
Yeah. And that's what's going to happen with Florida Boulevard if we ever move. We have so many seniors that want to come, but the parking is so horrendous. The other day I had to make all employees park across the street, and me and Ms. Pratt and Dr. Gilmore, we just made rounds in our truck, picking them up and bringing them to work, picking them up and bringing them to work. And we just bought them lunch because you can't leave because we stuck in here, your car across Florida. So we're trying to work it out. So that's what I have for Antioch.
Okay.
And then we have finally identified what we think is a great location for a prospective building for our administrative building and our commercial kitchen. As you know, do you have those copies for him? Okay, give it to him. As you know,
You
got it?
Yep.
It's in your packet.
Last thing in your manila folder.
Yeah, in your manila folder. Our kitchen has to operate all day and all night, basically. And we need a large space for that. Our staff has doubled, and by the time we get to 2019, 2020, we will have tripled. We found a piece of property about 2 blocks back from the 1701 main building. So when you look at the back of the parking lot, you look past those duplex senior housing, a little further back there is an old warehouse. And if you see the warehouse, but you don't know that you see it. Anytime you ride on the interstate, you see that great building where everybody hangs their campaign signs. It's at Fuqua, that warehouse. So that's about 2.7 acres. So we want to buy that warehouse, and according to what Mr. Didier says, it's my hope, well, I think, that we're going to tear it down and just build a new facility. There'll be enough parking for the fleet. We'll have immediate access to the interstate so drivers can go north and south. And then we'll have enough space so we can have enough offices for our administration and the whole kitchen on the downstairs area so the vans can pull in, get their meals, and roll out. And the drivers that's going to the senior centers that need hot meals, they can come in one way, get their meals, and go out.
And we can make our 18-wheeler access easier and all that sort of stuff.
Easier 18-wheeler access. But and the other thing that we like about the area is there are about 4 or 5 city blocks of nothing but lots because the neighborhood has been abandoned. And that's a great opportunity for us to do our senior housing village concept because we do housing. And the trend has been in this city that we do housing and we stacking seniors on top of each other in apartments. But that's not really what they want. You know, a duplex, small mini garden homes, we spread out. And then you're right here, you 2 blocks up, you can walk to the senior center. We have some commitments from some partners who want to put a geriatric health clinic there, just doing seniors dentistry and health and wellness and therapy. And then you can go there and you got several churches in the area. You can walk to church or the church can come get you and that kind of thing. So it's great for the agency so that we can, you know, expand our footprint.
And the good news is that the owner of the property who would sell this to us owns a bunch of the rest of that
all
land.
the rest of it.
Professor Riddick. Professor Riddick. Him and then Collis owns a bunch of it too in that same sort of area.
I think they bought it all.
I think they own it. Yeah, they just bought it.
And it was adjudicated. I think that it was adjudicated.
Right.
Yeah.
And, well, he must have saved his nickels because he owns half of this neighborhood.
My notes. Huh? Yeah, I guess.
Maybe.
I don't know, but if you looked in your packet, you have a map. So in the map, because I can't, where's my map?
You don't have a map.
I don't have a map.
Hey, you can have mine.
I got the original map. So in the map, if you look, what we're proposing for the facility, this area right here is the actual warehouse lot. All these lots right here will be parking and fleet area. And then these are lots where you can come in and out to the access point of the back of the building. Back here, behind the warehouse is the access to Fuqua Street. So this is the area we're looking at. And so the chairwoman signed a purchase agreement, and we asked Mr. Didier to send us, I think he sent, what do you call it, MSA agreement to go look at the property, to go see the master service agreement, to go see its viability for what we want to do.
Phase 1 is included in that, an environmental and a survey as well, plus my inspection. And then also I'll develop a program for the new building and some cost information associated with, you know, what it would cost to build a new building. Kind of set up preliminary construction.
Is there a time frame?
We, as soon as possible. Everything is as soon as possible. And we also, speaking to Mr. Didier, sometimes it'll be cheaper to build new than to renovate. And so with the land, we could probably get something for once that, you know, the roof not falling in. But as you know, many of you have come to the main building. That building has outlived its life expectancy. And so as soon as we can get out of there, the better. And we have staff, we double and triple sharing offices. And so we have several staff members that we need to bring on that we cannot because we just don't have anywhere to put them. So as soon as he can go and look and let us know.
Yeah, the reason I asked about time frame is because it probably will be done before
the city building. It probably will. You're exactly right. It probably will. But the bad part about that is, if it is so, we're not putting the senior center in that building. It's an administrative building, And we'll have a commercial kitchen area, but won't be your boardroom and that kind of thing, but won't be a senior center there. So we have to try to work it out that even if we do move, we still have to be in this building until we can get the seniors moved and the pantry moved. So we'll still be functioning in 5790. That's all I got for that.
Okay. Oh, do we have a resolution?
We do have a resolution, but we don't need it today.
We don't need it today? Okay, we don't need the resolution.
Today. No, we don't need it today.
Do we need this? What is this?
Tell Jessica we don't need the resolution today. We just
No
need
resolution
our
for
lady
food
delay.
projects, we're still, okay.
You have a resolution.
Do we need?
Yeah,
We do need
the
it.
resolution.
We do, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Okay, I was talking to you.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Resolution of the Board of Directors of the East Baton Rouge Council on the Aging Incorporated. Be it resolved that Tasha Clark Amar, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the corporation, the President, is duly authorized and directed to act on behalf of the corporation to sign any and all documents in connection with the purchase of the prospective administrative building, Fuqua Warehouse by and between Riddick Properties and the East Baton Rouge Council on the Aging Incorporated, a nonprofit corporation, subject to all terms and conditions of the form of purchase agreement attached hereto and made a part hereof as Exhibit A, the purchase agreement, and to execute any documents in connection with the purchase agreement on such terms that she may, in her sole discretion, deem proper and advisable. Be it further resolved that the President of this corporation is further authorized on behalf of this corporation to sign any and all documents that may be necessary to carry out the purposes of these resolutions as she, in her sole discretion, deem appropriate, and to do and perform each and every other act and thing that may be necessary to carry out these purposes, as lawful acts done and performed being hereby ratified and confirmed. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall not act to supersede any prior resolutions of this corporation, said prior resolutions to remain in full force and effect. I, Jessica Griffin, substituting for Derek Cole, certify that Mr. Cole is the duly elected secretary of the corporation and that notice of the meeting of the Board of Directors was properly given to all board members and the above resolutions were adopted by a majority of the directors present at a meeting duly held by them on the 25th day of September 2018 at the office of the corporation, at which meeting a quorum of the members of the Board of Directors were present and all voted in favor of the passage of these resolutions. These resolutions are true and correct, have not been altered or replaced, and are in full force and effect, and have not been modified or rescinded. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this 25th day of September 2018.
Do I hear a motion to accept this resolution? Ms. Pat? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? All right. You want to talk about Our Lady of the Lake?
Our Lady of the Lake, we just, Murphy and staff just wrote for us a corporate endeavor agreement with Our Lady of the Lake Senior Housing. Our Lady of the Lake Senior Housing is located off of, is that Ardenwood? Lobdell on Bishop Ott Drive. So there is about 262 seniors that live in that facility. What has been happening is they all have been signing up for Meals on Wheels, but they're not really homebound, but they want the meals, so they're saying that they're homebound. So what we're going to do is, we met with their management. They said and met with us. They're going to give us a facility, one of the facilities within their housing complex, and we're going to put a nutritional feeding site there. And so the seniors will come down out of their apartments. We'll serve them a meal. They can take it to their apartment. It's cheaper for us to give them a hot meal than for us to do. It's a lot of labor for us to make Meals on Wheels plates, and then for a driver to spend all day going door to door, dropping off boxes of food, when they can just come downstairs and get their food. So we're going to start this in the middle of October, right after the expo. We're going to open a nutritional feeding site, and we've done that before. We have one in Turner Plaza. We have one in Catholic Presbyterian. We have one in Charlotte Terrace, and so we'll just open one there. So that way, Meals on Wheels will go to the most needy homebound seniors that's in the home. It's just you, and it's not a complex of seniors passing the phone around saying you go sign up next, because all of them started to sign up for Meals on Wheels, and we realized that we'll need 4 drivers over there all day delivering the 262 units when they really just want the hot meals, okay? And there's no parking for them to come to Florida Boulevard. It's just easier for us to take the meals to them. Set up a meal. They won't have activities. They'll just come in, because they get activities with Our Lady of the Lake, but they're all qualified because they're all LMI, so they'll come in, they'll eat their hot meal. They can eat in that cafeteria, or they can go upstairs to their apartment.
And their caregivers can come down and get their hot meal and bring it.
The ones that are, indigent or have some issues, they have aides. Their aides can come down, get their meal, and bring it up to them. So I need a resolution for the Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs, just saying that you agree with me opening another nutritional feeding site.
Okay. Board resolution to adopt this instrument. Acceptance of opening new nutritional feeding site. On the 25th day of September 2018, at a meeting of the Board of Directors of the East Baton Rouge Council on Aging Incorporated, a corporation held in the city of Baton Rouge, state of Louisiana, with the quorum of the directors present, the following business was conducted. It was duly moved and seconded that the following resolution be adopted. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the above-named corporation does hereby acknowledge and accept the opening of EBRCOA nutritional feeding site. Our Lady of Lake Senior Housing is located at 7555 Bishop I Drive, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70806. The above resolution was passed by a majority of those present and voted in accordance with the bylaws and articles of incorporation. I certify that the above and foregoing constitutes a true and correct copy of a part of the minutes of a meeting of the Board of Directors held on the 25th day of September 2018. Jessica Griffin, substituting for Dr. Derek Cole, Board Secretary.
Okay, any other questions before we move to adopt the resolution? All right, do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution? Second? All those in favor? All right.
All right, well, as you have heard, we have been very, very busy. I don't know if you are keeping up, but we have gone from 16 senior centers. We're currently going to 21 with Our Lady of the Lake. That makes 22, am I correct? That makes 22. And then we're gonna hold it, because until we can move into the commercial kitchen, my kitchen staff, they can't keep up with the production. It's a lot to feed this many people every day. We are currently, before we add Our Lady of the Lake, we're making about 1,100 to 1,200 hot meals a day. We make about, is it 3,000?
Right, in a week's time, home delivery there was 9,000.
9,000 to 10,000 Meals on Wheels meals a week. And I don't know if you ever had an opportunity to come and see. They cook the food, they plate the food, they seal it in a conveyor belt, they label the food, then they got to box the food, and then you have to put all the things that go with it. Fresh fruit, fresh milk, bread, butter, and then the menu with the nutrient analysis. So you can know today your red beans only have 12 grams of sodium, so that in case they need to take it to their doctor. So anyway, with that being said, after we do Our Lady of the Lake, we're gonna just hold on, open this senior centers. And so for next year, we're gonna try to switch our focus to some other things that we need to address. Housing is key. I keep a 400 or 500 person waiting list at Dumas House. And my social workers are always looking for somewhere to place a senior who, one, has had some housing. The seniors are also facing a bed bug epidemic. Every week, we got 2 or 3 seniors coming in the facility with bed bugs, and so then what happens is they come in to get help with food, and next thing you know, the whole building is saturated. So I gotta get all the employees out, we gotta spray the building, the person has to come. And so seniors are having issues with bed bugs, and it's expensive. to deal with that. You have to throw all your furniture out depending on how bad. They're very hard to get rid of. You have to move them for 3 or 4 days. There's been times where we've asked people to put them up in a hotel. You got to take them to the home, the one-stop place and bathe them and defume them and then move them. And so we need to focus on a way. There's no agency in Baton Rouge that really deals with that, and it's becoming a senior issue. Because what's happening is if you throw your furniture out on the curb, the senior doesn't have it, they pick it up, they drag it in. We've had here lately 6 cases at Dumas house, and so one neighbor has it, they're going through the sockets of the next door neighbor, and then the next door neighbor has it. So everybody in this wing, we had to throw all their furniture out, and we had to play and replace their furniture and their belongings. And even though you're getting a new couch and you might get a new bed, that's detrimental to a senior's mental psyche because they feel like they've lost everything. And so we're trying to come up with a way and a program and a manner to prevent it before it comes. Like if you see a chair outside, even if it looks nice, don't get it. You know, just don't get it. If you know, and let's see if we can help you. And then some of the furniture in the thrift stores are not great to go and get if you don't know what you're looking at. So we'll be focusing on that. We're also sending 2 employees to be trained. They'll take online training about senior home modifications and why it's important to be educated. And I just, for your information, I'm giving you some information. We just took a class, me and Ms. Pratt, Trudy and Chantel. And so I'm gonna pass this out. I just gave you a few slides. You can read at your time. It talks about seniors living, aging in place, and the pitfalls of that. So you pass them out here. Okay. It also talks about this modification class is done by the University of Southern California. And we're gonna get 2 people certified. They get 18 CEUs. And then they will help us establish a program to help seniors. And when I mean modification, we're not building houses, but we will learn how to put grab bars in the bathrooms, how to make their homes more safe, how to prevent falls. It's an additive to fall prevention, because that's the #1 killer for seniors in this parish and across the country. If you look at the slides, it tells you 40% of U.S. homes have at least one safety or health issues. It tells you about hazards in their homes and what they lead to. A water leak can lead to lead poisoning and asthma. It also tells you about the cost of seniors falling. The city used to have it, but they don't have any funds. Right.
So are you all able to apply for those?
Well, once you get a certain level of certification, you have to be certified. Then you can qualify for some national type programs. So that's something that we want to look into, getting certified first, and then seeing what we can qualify for and becoming a designated home modification program. And then we also want to, we'll also be looking into, next year getting some of our seniors and our staff trained and some formal education on gerontology, learning how to quickly identify dementia with our seniors when we go in the home and when they're coming into the facility. We have been, a lot of our seniors have been facing those type of issues, and the families have been calling us, asking us, you know, what do you do if your mother is changing, if you have dementia, what's the steps and the stages? So some of my care managers and my social workers will be going to take those classes. So the classes will be offered starting next year in April, and they're here. They're in New Orleans this year. So they won't be talking about we flying to Chicago. Because all the East Baton Rouge Parish Council on Aging will be going to New Orleans. The National Association on Aging will be having their national conference in New Orleans, and so will the National Council on Aging. Area Agency on Aging, N4A, will be in New Orleans as well next year.
My parents have some extra bedrooms in Canada.
Well, I don't know if you know my CFO, but she has already said, we commuting. She told us that we have to commute. She said it's only an hour and a half. You heard it? She said with traffic, y'all can drive, go to class, and just come on back here. And then just a couple of events. This Friday.
Natasha, did you acknowledge about your co-chairwomanship?
I did not. Well, go ahead. So you want to make an announcement?
So our CEO has been asked by this national organization to serve as a co-chair of next year's conference. So we're not just going. She will be a co-chair. And they asked her to present. Because of all of her successes here, they've asked her to be a presenter.
Okay. Awesome. Now, Dr. Gilmore, you want to tell them what topic they want me to present on? Take a guess.
They asked for this topic. We're going to offer lots of alternatives, but they wanted to know, how'd you get that tax pass? Would you please share it with the rest of the nation?
And in that vein, several of the other councils on agents across the state are also pursuing millages this election season. New Orleans is pursuing a millage, and some other councils, and they're coming here to meet with us and ask us about the pitfalls of millages. And I'm going to give them Murphy's telephone number. Anyway, so there's that. This Friday at the hall, we will be, so we're not at the hall today because all the rain and the grass behind it, the acres behind it, that does not belong to us, has grown up, and they have grown a bunch of rats and snakes, and they decided to take refuge in the hall. So we're getting the hall fumigated, and we have the people down there trying to catch our visitors. So, you know, we didn't want to have y'all there and something run
Miss Byrne quit.
Miss Byrne quit. She came back.
No snakes, no rats, I'm out.
Back. So they're down there trying to catch them. Right, this is nice, huh? So this Friday, though, the National Foundation of ARP came last week, and they made emergency preparedness bags for the seniors in this parish, about $4,000 or $5,000. And then the State Office of Public Health, also in conjunction with them, are joining us this week, and we'll be dispersing those bags. First come, first serve. They're gonna drive in, we're gonna put the bags in the seniors' cars Friday from 9, till they run out, which will be early, I'm sure. They're gonna drive in at the hall, huh? No, I'm going to the centers. No, they're gonna have, because it's an AARP stuff, and they want them to kind of come and get them so that their volunteers can help disperse them and see them. So we'll do that this Friday. Also, you all, we will be having our expo. It's coming up. Yeah. Yup. Get ready for the expo. So on the Thursday night kickoff of the expo, we have Keith Frank and Rockin' Dupsy. It's our Zydeco Taste of Baton Rouge 2.0. Now, I don't know if you all have been to Taste of Baton Rouge before, but we're going to have restaurants giving out taste and size samples. We have over 30 restaurants. We'll have about 700 people there. We've been selling tickets and VIP tables. We have Keith Frank and Rockin' Dupsy singing Zydeco, and it's going to be a great time. We have about 45 celebrity waiters that will be waiting and handing out the taste and size sample to all the crowd. And this is just an opportunity for the community to come out and see some of the stuff that we're doing. So Trudy's gonna pass these out to you all. And then the following day is the Senior Expo. We have over 105 vendors that will be there. Everybody from the Social Security Administration to Medicaid. We have the latest wheelchairs and the hurricane. We got the toilet lift people. We got the rebath people. We have, who am I missing? We have so many vendors. It's gonna be amazing. We got cooking demonstrations from merchants. They're bringing in an 18-wheeler in the middle of the River Center. They're putting pots and pans up, and they're gonna cook and give out food all day. Merchants Food Company. They'll be giving out food all day. We're gonna give out fruit and vegetables to all the seniors as long as supplies last. And Jerry Lane gave us a car. We're giving away a free, brand new car to some lucky senior that day. They'll be driving out in a red Chevy Cruze. We're gonna have bingo. We got the SALT group. They'll be doing safety demonstrations, and they're giving away a TV an hour, a flat screen TV an hour. We have bingo, crafting. It's gonna be awesome. It's a senior takeover. Lazy Boy bringing in recliners for the seniors to sit around in. We're gonna have breakfast and lunch, so you don't have to worry about bringing anything in. But you know the seniors are gonna pack something in their pockets. But it's gonna be a great time. We have a caregiver track for caregivers that's taking care of their parents. We'll have some classes. We have 13 symposiums, and Social Security is gonna tell you how to make your check go higher instead of lower. So anybody who getting that Social Security check, you might want to come to the class. They're gonna tell you how to get your check higher and not lower. Anyway, so I want you all to come out. The mayor will be there to greet all the seniors. Congressman Graves, Congressman Richmond, and you know, there are a bunch of elected officials are coming to speak and say hello to the seniors that morning. So you all, if you get an opportunity, I know it's a work day, but pass by and greet the seniors and come out and have and see all the good times.
What time does it open?
It opens at 8, and we hope to be done by 3:30. We already have over 1,600 pre-registered seniors already. We have buses of seniors coming in from New Orleans. We have seniors coming in from other parishes. So you all, if you know some seniors, tell them they don't want to miss this one. It's gonna be a time. And no long lines. You got to get in early. It's the expo. So don't meet me there. Beat me there. That's my report, Madam Chair.
All right. Is there any other business?
Which one? Oh, you want to come to the Zydeco Festival? Oh, the Zydeco starts at what time, Trudy? Starts at 8 o'clock. All board members are welcome to come for 6:30. We have a celebrity meet and greet. You meet the artists and meet with the celebrity waiters. Come for 6:30. And it's an all denim affair. Everybody wear your jeans and your boots and your tennis or whatever you want to wear. Come casual. Because Steve is going to be kicking off the dancing. Huh? That's Thursday night. All denim on Thursday. Friday, come comfortable. We have a yoga class, Tai Chi. We're doing line dancing with 2,000. Come comfortable on Friday. Bring all your medicines. I'm going to bring mine. And some Bengay. Oh, I forgot. We got a fashion show for lunchtime sponsored by Dillard's. And Diane Deaton is walking, and it's MC by Johnny Asian and Liz Cope. And so all of Channel 9 will be walking in the fashion show, and we got some celebrities walking in the fashion show. The chairwoman is walking in the fashion show.
Against I better joke.
So it's gonna be a great time. All right?
All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Jamie, you just mad because you can't walk in the fashion show.
All those in favor?
You're not a singer.